Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching our continuing coverage of governorship and state assembly elections across the country. And as we speak, voting is currently going on across the country. And of course, there's been, well, you could say some improvement now in terms of logistics on the part of INEC, but there is still a challenge. In some places, voting did not begin early because voting materials did not arrive the polling units early enough. There have also been reports of some INEC ad hoc staff in some states now protesting against the non-payment of the allowance, even from the presidential election, and that money was not provided for them. So it took a while before INEC was able to resolve the issue, and they deployed. But right now, let's go to Anambra State, particularly Nnewi to be precise, where journalist Emmanuel Asiegunam is standing by to bring us up to speed with what is happening there. Ima, thank you very much for joining us. We know that in Anambra State, governorship election is not taking place there. What you have is state assembly election, that you say. But then this state assembly election is very, very important because of course, the governing party in the state would obviously want to have an APGA-dominated state house of assembly. But so the election is very important, especially for the governing party in the state. But tell us where you are at the moment and what is going on.
All right, thank you so much, Deji. I'm at Nem Hall precisely. It's Otolo Ward 2. Enem Hall in Nnewi, Anambra State.
Oh, okay, so tell us, how is the voting going on there?
Well, so far so good. The voting is going on peacefully, I must say. You can see quite a large crowd behind me. I hope you can see that. Quite a large crowd behind me. People are queuing up to cast their votes. There have been no incidents so far. Compared to the last elections, people actually came out early, and luckily other officials themselves, they all came out early also to conduct the voting process. So things are going on normally. Though I observed some slight incidences of voter intimidation here, and also there's an incident behind me. I capture it. Yeah, you can see behind me, people are clustering behind a particular person. I don't know what they are doing with that person. The people are walking behind a particular person, directly behind me. Yeah, and I noticed that some people actually went to cast their ballot. People were intimidating them to cast their ballot for certain individuals. But it's not actually widespread. It's just one or two polling booths, but all the other ones are peaceful so far. And this is like the fifth polling center that I've visited today. And so far, all of them are peaceful. People are voting. The last one I went to, someone actually thought I was a voter there, and tried to induce me to vote for a particular candidate. So we have some slight incidences, but they are not really enough to mar the election.
Oh, okay. Now tell me, what about the people? I don't know if you've actually spoken with some of the voters. How enthusiastic are they to be taking part in the process, to vote?
Okay, they are very enthusiastic. The number of people, I've spoken to quite a number of people here off camera, so to say. Many of them don't want to be captured on camera, or maybe to take anonymity or so. But all the people I spoke to, they are all anxious, they are all willing, and they are ready to vote and wait for their vote to be counted.
Now, tell me, Ima, you follow politics in Anambra State very well. How important is this election?
It is very, very important. I will say that this particular election is like a battle for relevance between the ruling party in the state and the other party. I don't know whether I could mention their names.
Yes, of course.
The ruling party in the state, the ruling party in the state, which is the APGA, let me say the word, the new kid in town, the Labour Party. There is a kind of a battle for supremacy between these two. But there is also a third factor, the factor of the YPP. In this particular Nnewi, which is Anambra South, the senator representing the zone is actually of the YPP. This is his second term. And he wants to really make a statement in this side of Anambra that his party has come to say. So he's a part of those that are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that people vote for his party and that the election goes on fairly. I actually met him when I was coming in here, and he was doing one or two things for people outside the voting center, which I don't want to mention on air, but that's some things with some people out there in the outside there before I came in here. But upon coming in here, I discovered that his party, the ABDA, and the Labour Party, these are the three parties that are in serious contention right here. So presently, the PDP that used to be the dominant party in this side of the country seems to be the party. I mean, it's quite funny that the battle seems to be between Labour Party, YPP, and ABDA. We're not hearing of the PDP. I've not heard of the PDP. I've not seen any of the PDP again. All those I saw were ABDA, Labour Party, or YPP.
So the context is actually Okay. Very quickly now, what other reports are you getting from other parts of the state in terms of turnout?
Look, in other parts of the state, the people are calling so far is also encouraging, though there were some reports of some violence or thereabout in Oka, in a particular polling booth in Oka. I'll still confirm it and get back. They said some people came and they had some fightings and broke some bottles or thereabout. But in other parts of the state, also I called Onitsha. Onitsha is also peaceful. But the three centers I called at 10 a.m., they said they are yet to start voting. So the INEC officials were there. But by and large, in the Anambra state, the performance and first of all, the outcome, the people, the response of the people are far more encouraging and more enthusiastic than we had before. And then I must commend INEC. I mean, consider this particular center that I'm in now, and then more. On February 25th, they came very late to this place. The voting materials came here around 11 o'clock or thereabout. In my own polling center at Umuanoka, the voting materials came there by 2. And they were not even adequate. Out of about 800 expected ballot papers that were meant to come there, they only came with 150. So people didn't vote in Umuanoka. Then luckily, I just came out from Umuanoka. The voting is going on there peacefully. And here at M Hall, the voting is also very peaceful. But as I said, there are still cases of voters intimidation. People are being coerced financially by force and by frustration to vote for specific candidates. Other than the one they may be the ones they had the right to vote.
All right, Emma, thank you very much. I mean, you're doing a wonderful job. We're still going to get back to you for more updates. So thank you very much for those updates. Thanks a lot, and stay safe. Well, Emmanuel Asiegunam, a journalist in Anambra State, we're still going to touch base with him later on to find out what is going on. Now, Kano State is another state to watch. Why? Because the NNPP, that's the party of Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the former governor of the state, of course, is a strong force. The NNPP now is a strong force in that state. Don't forget that the NNPP actually won the presidential election in that state by a landslide. So it had always been politics had always been between the PDP and APC in that state, but now the NNPP is making a very serious challenge. And the man you're seeing there now is the candidate of the NNPP. This is exactly earlier in the day when he went to his polling unit now to vote. You can see the crowd. Everyone is expecting that he is going to give the candidates of the APC and the PDP a run for their money now. But there you have him casting his vote earlier in the day. This is one state to look out for because it's expected that it's going to be a very close and tight race. And that's one state that is very difficult to call at the moment. So you have three front runners, or you could say two front runners, the candidate of the APC and the candidate of the NNPP there. So because the PDP, of course, has a problem in that state. They've been in court for a very long time now, until recently when the Supreme Court gave judgment now in terms of who the actual candidate of the PDP is. But then that the legal battle has actually taken a toll on the party. So not many expects the PDP to pull, to do too well in that state. But then you never can tell. I mean, this with elections in Nigeria, you just can't be too sure. But let's take a lesson now to the NNPP's candidate now, what he said after casting his vote.
As you can see, as we arrived, you can see the mammoth crowd that came to receive us. And you can see how difficult it was before I was able to cast my vote. Not because of anything, but because of the love the good people of the state and the good people of my constituency have for me. So I'm absolutely confident that by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the end of the day, we're going to win. I just arrived at my constituency, so I'm not fully aware about the other constituencies on the 44 local governments areas of the state. But as far as my constituency is concerned, I'm confident that at the end of the day, the INEC is going to conduct a credible election. However, we have some issues of violence. Even here in my constituency, I was reliably informed that the APC chairman, who has been a notorious party leader, has also today brought so many thugs into the voting units, and they have perpetrated violence. They have conducted themselves in an unruly manner, and that has been his character, which we, for quite a long time, we informed the security agencies as somebody that feels that he is above the law.
Well, that's Abar Kabir Yusuf, who is a candidate, the governorship candidate now of the NNPP. This is actually not the first time he'll be running. He ran against the incumbent governor of that state, Ganduje, in 2019 under the platform of the PDP, but he lost. So this time he's running on the platform of the NNPP. And if there's one party that is expected to give the APC, the governing APC in that state, a run for its money, it's actually the NNPP now. A lot of analysts have said, look, it's going to be a fight to finish between the APC and the NNPP. So we'll just wait and see how it pans out in Kano State. But let's go to Kaduna State now, which is also another state to watch. Of course, the governing party in that state is the APC. But don't forget what happened during the presidential election. The party lost. The APC lost Kaduna State to the PDP, and the PDP, of course, has been out of power there in that state for the past about 8 years now. So it's seeking to make a return. So it's seeking to bounce back. So at the end of the day, we just have to wait and see who takes Kaduna State. But of course, it's going to be a very tough fight now between the APC and the PDP in that state. Not discountenancing. Not discounting, I should say, the candidate of the Labour Party as well. The Labour Party did very well in that state, coming third during the presidential election. So the Labour Party is also expected to do well in the governorship election in Kaduna State. But then let's go to journalist Joseph Peter, who is in Kaduna State for us. Joseph, thank you very much for talking to us. Tell us exactly where you are and what's going on there.
Presently, I'm in primary school at Howell, where the governor candidate of APC is expected to come and vote. We're here waiting for him to come around so that he can be able to do his vote. Kaduna State, presently, the few polling stations we have visited, people have come out to exercise their rights and voting if they want to. They want to vote. But one of the major challenges here in Kaduna State, the turnout is not impressive. We have a very low turnout, and I think I will look at it from past election. The outcome of the past election is really affecting this present election. The turnout is not is very low compared to what compared to what was expected. That's exactly what is happening here in Kaduna State. The fight is going to be, the competition here is going to be very tight because of the parties that are involved. Before now, it used to be two parties race, but presently we have about 4 people on the race, and it's going to be a very tight one.
So, what you're saying is that it's like a 4-horse race. Well, we'll wait and see how it pans out. But tell me, what other reports are you getting from other parts of the states? Because just as you've said, turnout is low, but we just have to wait until the election is over, and then we take the data. But what other reports are you getting from other parts of the state, whether in terms of turnout, or has there been any incident at all?
Presently, the atmosphere is peaceful. People are out to carry out their responsibility of casting or voting who they want to vote. The INEC on this election have really tried because accreditations like the materials were actually given out to INEC staff early. At 8 o'clock, there's some polling booths, polling centers, and the INEC officials are already on ground, waiting for them to start the process. So I think the process is going very smooth. So we will have to see how the outcome will be.
Quickly, what about, did voting start in good time? INEC officials, did they arrive polling units now in good time?
Yes, the INEC officials arrived their polling centers on a very good time. At 8, many of them have arrived their polling centers. At 8, some of them have started already. So we have to give it to INEC this time around. They really work hard to make sure that this time around is fair, better than the last election.
All right, Joseph Peter, thank you very much for that update. We'll come back to you much later in the day. Thank you very much for your time. Now let's move over to Bayelsa State, where governorship election is actually not taking place there, but then state assembly election taking place. The state assembly election, of course, is very important. That state is currently being controlled by the PDP, but the APC also has a very strong presence in the state. And of course, the APC will be seeking to return a lot of its members now to the State House of Assembly. It probably will be seeking to control the State House of Assembly, but then the PDP too, the governor would obviously want his party, the PDP, to dominate the assembly because it makes things easier for him. And so the election in Bayelsa State is quite crucial. The governor has actually voted, and just after he voted, this is what he said.
Very early this morning, I got the reports about the burning down of INEC materials from the rack center in that local government area. And I'm going to issue a press statement on that. And I've called on the Commissioner of Police to fish out those who are responsible for that dastardly act and ensure that they are promptly arrested and prosecuted. And so we have that isolated case at Ogbea local government area in constituency 2 only. But we're still monitoring developments across the state. I'm in touch with the INEC at the state level, and I'm in touch with the security agencies. And we will step up our game in terms of security across the whole state. There are pockets, isolated pockets of complaints here and there, and we're attending to all of those complaints, particularly complaints that have to do with security. And let me also use this opportunity to call on all of us who are in politics. You don't force people to be ruled. You appeal to people and you court people to work with you. And so let us avoid the use of thuggery. Fortunately, we have beavers now. And so that is an antiquated political strategy that people are still trying to adopt in our state.
Well, in Ogun State, the election has been peaceful so far. The governor, of course, has cast his vote. And the vice president of the country, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has also cast his vote. He traveled to the state now to take part in the process. And of course, as you know, that state is being controlled by the APC. The APC is seeking to retain it. The governor is seeking a second term. And of course, he's facing a very tough fight now, especially from the PDP and the other political parties in the state. There's one other political party, of course, that's the candidate of the ADC now that. Of course, is also running against Governor, the APC governor now in that state. But it's another race that is quite tight and difficult to call at this moment. But so far, the exercise has gone on peacefully. Election materials, of course, arrived most of the polling units in good time, and voting started early enough. The vice president, as we said, voted at his polling unit. That's in his hometown of Ikene. And immediately after exercising his franchise, there you have the vice president with his wife. Now, shortly after exercising his franchise, this is what he had to say.
From here, at my own polling booth here, it's excellent. I think everything is peaceful, and the whole process has been conducted very well. And I just hope and pray that this is how this has been carried on across the nation. It's been a very pleasant experience. I'm glad that I was able to cast my vote, and also that so many of us who want to cast our votes today have been able to cast our votes.
So voter turnout is one issue that everyone will be looking out for. In the presidential election, voter turnout was very low, the lowest we've had since 1999. And so this governorship election is very important. This is one election that is closer to the people. Governorship now, I mean, state governments are closer to the people, and state governments have more impact on the lives of the people than even the federal government. So you would expect that in this election, the turnout will be huge. But from some of the reports we're getting from some of the states, turnout has been low. But you know, it's still too early to call. We just have to wait until the process ends. But it's very important that people actually come out to vote in this election, because this is one important election that will produce governors that have direct impact on the lives of the people. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be right back to continue the show. Welcome back. Let's go to Anambra State now, this time at Uke, where journalist Ubaka Nwanibe is standing by to bring us up to speed with what is happening there. Ubaka, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Tell us exactly the polling unit you are and what's going on there.
Yeah, good afternoon, Deji. I'm right now at Mbaneme Memorial Primary School, Uke. It's in Idemli North Local Government Area of Anambra Central Senatorial District. Actually, I don't know, it's better to say that what happened today or what is happening today seems to be a reverse of what happened on February 25th. The INEC officials and materials arrived as early as 7:38 a.m., but the voters were not there up till the hour of 10 in the morning. But presently here, they started accreditation at about 11, and then as soon as that was concluded, the voters that were trickling in started the exercise, the voting proper, and every other thing is in shape. There is peace, there is decorum. The weather is very, very clement. And incidentally, I moved around the community and noticed the same low turnout and lateness to polling units, whereby the INEC officials and materials came in on time as early as 8 a.m.
So tell us about voter turnout. Has it been impressive?
Hello?
Tell us about voter turnout. What is it like? Has it been impressive? I mean, is it as good as
Yes.
what we saw during the presidential election?
No, it wasn't. As early as 8 o'clock, like I said before, the materials and the INEC officials were already here, but the voters were not there. But later in the day, from around 11, they started coming in. But it's still not up to the standard, up to the number we had on February 25th. And maybe people were speculating it was because of the lateness on the part of the electoral materials and the officials that made them to wait. But as we speak, it's about 25 minutes to 1 o'clock, yet the turnout is not up to what we had on February 2025.
Could this turnout, this issue of low turnout now, could it be because governorship election is not taking place in the state, it's just state assembly election that is taking place, and so the people are not taking this very seriously?
No, before now, the enlightenment was up and running that that Anambra State wouldn't be having governorship election. So the voters were aware. Basically, from discussions and the reactions I got from people, it was mainly because of the lateness of electoral materials and INEC officials previously that made people not to, bother coming out on time. But now, like I said, it's to one. When are they going to come out? But expectations are still that before 2 p.m., more people will turn out for elections. So, but fundamentally, it's not because Anambra State is not having the governorship election, because people were enlightened and sensitized to go and only vote for the House of Assembly election. Meanwhile, everybody was given one voter, one ballot paper. Quite unlike in February, we had 3 ballot papers, given to each voter for the 3 positions.
Now let me quickly ask you this before I let you go. Has there been any report of any incident at all across the state that you've heard?
No, I've not. I've been talking and chatting with my colleagues elsewhere. There's nothing like that so far. It's just all about low turnout or lateness to polling units by the voters.
All right, Ubaka Nwanibe, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll touch base with you again later to get more updates. Well, it's quite a surprise. The last time we had the presidential election, it was a question of INEC and its materials arriving polling units late, and this time it's the voters who arrived late, and then turnout not been too impressive in Anambra State. But let's quickly go over to Kano now, where Emeka Amako, our correspondent, is on standby now to talk to us. Emeka, if you can hear me, tell us what exactly is going on there and where you are.
Yes, I can hear you, though faintly, but if I'm to rephrase, I guess you are trying to find out what it is like over here, our present place of coverage,
yes,
I guess.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yes, we are in Sabongeri, a place known as Eastward, Ado Bayero Square here in Sabongeri. I can tell you for free that it's been peaceful here. The voters have actually conducted themselves admirably, and everything is just going to plan. My major concern here is here in polling unit 063, I was able to have a discussion with one of the INEC ad hoc staff, a copper, who confided in us that there is what I would call voter apathy here. The voters never turned out as expected. The number of accredited voters here is about 227, he did say. And there are, so far, only 27 have voted since morning. That's quite alarming, I must say. So everything is just going, but the turnout of voters here is nothing to write home about.
Well, it's actually a surprise that in Kano, the voter, I mean, you would have voter apathy in Kano where, turnout during the presidential election was quite good, even though not as good as it used to be. But have you found out what could be responsible for these poor voter turnout?
Yes, the guy said the causative factor is the voters here were able to cast their minds back memory lane what played out during the last election, not just the presidential election held this year. We are talking of the 2019 general election, where there were full-blown issues. There were clashes here, so that was able to instill fears in the voters, the electorate. They were supposed to have come out much earlier, and I can tell you, up to this moment, the ad hoc staff are just seated with no one to actually come and cast their votes. It's a big worry, I must say. A place like Sabongeri, the voter party is well pronounced.
So let me ask you, have you heard of any incidents of violence or any incidents of violence anywhere at all in the state? Because I know it's like the governorship candidate of the NNPP alluded to that, but has there been any report or confirmation of any sort of violence at all in any part of Kano?
Yes, the NNPP governorship candidate, Abba Yusuf, yes, he did make mention of that, which I don't think is entirely wrong, because while we were at Nasarawa local government area, the polling unit there, where the APC governorship candidate in the person of Nasiru Gawuna, where he voted, there were we were able to notice there were some skirmishes, you know, and a particular ballot box was equally destroyed, which we saw. But because of the tense nature of the environment, we couldn't have that on camera. So I'll tell you of a truth that that particular area of the state, that particular part of the state, was actually, and remember, that was equally the same place where I told you that there was a massive deployment of security personnel over there. So if not for the timely intervention of the personnel, who knows what could have actually played out. But where we are presently is calm, is cool, and everybody is going about their normal business, just that the voter turnout is relatively poor.
Finally, Emeka, I know you must have been speaking with some of the voters. What have they been telling you? Are they really enthusiastic to vote? Are they happy that they are exercising their franchise to choose their next governor?
Yes, some of the voters we did interview, they are actually enthusiastic, and they are also thankful to INEC and to Nigeria for the opportunity for them to exercise their franchise. Their major worry is, would their votes count? And I kept telling them that the votes will definitely count.
Yes, I want to believe so, that their votes will count. Well, thank you very much, Emeka. We'll still touch base with you later on. So let's just allow you to run, but please stay safe, okay? All right, that's Emeka Mako, our correspondent in Kano State, of course, where there's been reports now of, well, some skirmishes now at some polling units. But other than that, it's been relatively peaceful in that state. But just as our correspondent reported, there is the issue of poor voter turnout, just as has been reported in Anambra State and quite a number of states. In fact, we've even gotten reports as well from Delta State, where voter turnout, of course, has been reported to be low. But then it's still too early to tell, because at the end of the day, when the results are in, that's when we'll have a clearer idea now of what the voter turnout has been like. But then in terms of importance, this election is probably the most important, probably more important than the presidential election, because this is one election where whoever is elected, whatever that person does as governor, would have direct impact on the lives of the people. So this election is very important. It's one election that citizens are expected to take very seriously. So if we're having cases of low voter turnout, then that's obviously not encouraging. Well, that's where we'll end it for now, and we'll still come back at the top of the hour to give you more updates from across the country. Stay with us. Don't go away.